Conservatives clashing. The Senate is desperately pushing to pass a budget in order to accomplish their goal of overhauling the tax code. But one senator in particular might end up sabotaging the entire plan.
The budget vote to me is a symbol and a guidepost as to what we are as a party and what we stand for. And the people like McCain and Graham, who parade as conservatives but are not really conservative, they need to be called out because they are bankrupting our country.
All right, Senator Lindsey Graham firing back at Senator Rand Paul, tweeting, quote, "Don't screw up tax reform now. You already saved Obamacare by trashing Graham, Cassidy, Heller, Johnson." You like the inflection? I try to do it with feeling. Here now is Republican Senator John Thune from South Dakota. He is on the Senate Finance Committee. Oh, my goodness. Whose side are you on?
Oh, I'm for just getting some bills passed, Melissa. Right. And I think that's what ultimately we need to be focused on. And, you know, there are these little intra-family discussions and disputes, which I would frankly rather be kept in the family and not spill out into the public. But nevertheless, on Twitter, nevertheless, I think that most Republicans right now are focused on getting this budget passed because the budget is what sets the table for tax reform. If we don't pass a budget, we don't get tax reform.
Okay, so to that end, Senator Paul could once again hold up the whole thing. He has not said that he's a no on the budget, but you know him well. I mean, you've been through these situations with him. What's your sense of what he's going to do?
You know, it's always hard to predict. He voted to proceed to the budget yesterday. It's a procedural vote, but the actual budget vote will occur at the end of the week. And I hope that Rand finds his way to vote for this. I think we need to function as a team. And these are big things that we're trying to do for the country and for the economy. If we can get tax reform across the finish line, we'll create greater economic growth, better paying jobs, and higher wages. And that's something that he ought to be for.
He was a loud voice the other day in favor of tax reform, and we were so excited about that. And then there was a but on the other end of it that was attached to the budget. Do you think there's something in particular that he wants or that he could be given that would get him there?
Well, I think there are things that he wants or things that if you put in there would lose a half a dozen other senators. So, yeah, you can't fix what the issues that he has with this. But, you know, to his point, this is a budget that reduces spending by over $5 trillion over the course of the decade. It reforms programs, it cuts taxes and grows the economy. This is a budget to be for, and I just hope in the end that we have all of our members that come out in support of it, because I think it's critically important to the future of this country that we get this done and we get it done now.
Speaking of trying to work together, just moving on to health care really quickly, Lamar Alexander out there working on a possible solution, the president kind of shooting that down a little bit in a tweet saying, "I am supportive of Lamar as a person and also of the process, but I can never support bailing out insurance companies who have made a fortune with Obamacare." And in fact, if you look at the first half of this year, the biggest 5 insurance companies made more than $10.5 billion in profits. You have to think a bunch of that, came from probably getting out of Obamacare. But at the same time, those insurance companies that are making that much profit, they don't need our viewers' money right now.
And I don't disagree with that. And my hope is that if we can figure out a way to pass a short-term measure that provides market stability, that keeps these markets from collapsing any further, and they are in free fall, and premiums continue to skyrocket. We want to get to a place where we can repeal and replace Obamacare with something better. That takes 50 votes in the Senate. We don't have it today. So this is a near-term solution. It's a bridge solution, but it needs to be done in a way that doesn't enrich insurance companies. And I know that the president and Senator Alexander are having those conversations, and hopefully they'll come up with a path forward.
We're a money show. Our number one issue here is tax reform. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the likelihood that it is going to happen for this year?
Well, I would like to say it's a 10, Melissa. I think it's a 10 that we get it done eventually. I'd like to think it's a 10 that we get it done this year. But look, I mean, right now we're on a path, if we can stay on schedule, passing the budget, and then the Ways and Means Committee in the House, the Finance Committee in the Senate mark up the bills, bring them to the floor, where we could put a bill on the president's desk before the end of the year. That's the goal.
Likelihood of putting a bill on the president's desk before the end of the year on tax reform is a what?
Well, let's say it's still an 8 or 9 in my mind.
Okay. All right. It's a 10 in ours, so,
It's going to get done.
Yeah,
it's going to get done.
We're focused. Senator Thune, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it.